What if I told you that Kamala Harris has lived in some of the most private and powerful homes in the United States? These houses are full of history, luxury, and a few surprises. But here's what really shocks me. There is one thing about her house that will blow your mind. Can you guess? Is it a secret room in the ground? Some kind of secret path? What could be even stranger? We're about to find out. First though, let me ask you something. What do you think the home of a vice president looks like? Huge lights and gold trim on everything? You could be shocked. Kamala's homes are all very interesting, from a very exclusive government house to a mansion in the middle of nowhere in California. But here's the catch. Most people don't know this shocking fact about one of them. You'll never look at her the same way again after you see it. Are you ready now? Pay close attention as we go on a tour, for the big show is coming up soon, which you don't want to miss. First, let's look at number 1, Observatory Circle, a famous estate that is hidden from view in the middle of Washington, D.C. You may have heard of the White House, but did you know that this is where the vice president lives? This house has been home to some of the most important people in American politics for decades. Politicians meeting in secret, check. Meetings behind closed doors with world leaders, of course. But most people don't know this. Inside these walls, there's a vice presidential custom that not many people have ever seen. What is it? We'll get to that though. I want to talk about Kamala Harris first though. Kamala made history the moment she took office as the first woman, first Black and first South Asian Vice President of the United States. She not only held the title, but she also changed it, as she led major policy efforts and stood by President Joe Biden during global crises. You'd think that her home would show how powerful she is, right? Not quite though. At first glance, the number 1 telescope circle seems classy without being too flashy. There are no fancy gold ceilings or ballrooms here, just a calm, stately home with a long past. But don't believe it. Things are hidden in this house, and even though it's nice, it's not even close to her own home. Because of this, now things really start to get interesting. But most people don't know this. Inside these walls, there's a vice presidential custom that not many people have ever seen. You may be wondering what kind of custom this is. Something very secret about the government. A bunker deep underground or a kiss between vice presidents. We'll just say it's not what you'd expect. First, Observatory Circle isn't just another fancy government house. There are strange traditions, interesting past, and yes, a few secrets in this place. VPs have left their own mark over the years, some of which are pretty strange. Let's look at George H.W. Bush. For someone who is so close to becoming president, you'd think he would spend his free time reading policy papers. Not at all. In the backyard, he made a horseshoe pit and even had a quarter-mile jogging track put in. Because why just run cross-country when you can also work on your horseshoe throw? In the same vein as making a house a home, Dan Quayle moved in with his young children and had to make changes to make the space more family-friendly. The bedrooms were renovated, and the building became easier to get to. It's not a huge change, but each vice president has their own goals, right? But then Douglas Emhoff and Kamala Harris showed up. Now things really start to get interesting. Something completely new was added to the vice presidential home for the first time in history. Can you guess? A private theater to see movies, a high-tech bunker for safety, a secret exit route.
Not really.
It's a mezuzah. That's right. Douglas Emhoff put a mezuzah on the doorway of the house, which was a historic first. He was the first second gentleman and the first Jewish spouse of a U.S. president or vice president. They also had the first known Passover Seder at their house, as if that wasn't enough. Take a moment to think about that. Some of the most important people in U.S. history have lived in this house, but this was the first time that a custom like this was honored. Do you not think that's a big deal? Now let's talk about the real puzzle. Because this house has another thing that no one likes to talk about. Have you ever heard rumors that there is a secret bunker under the home of the vice president? Some people say it's just a story. Some say it was built after 9/11, which is when Dick Cheney was president. And let's be honest, Cheney is the only vice president who could have a secret bunker. What is the truth? Is there really a secret way out in case of an emergency? Or is it just another story about a plot against Washington? There is one thing for sure. The stories that have been told in this house are many. If you think this is interesting, wait until you see what's inside Kamala's personal home. It may not be as fancy as the White House, but it's still very interesting. Trust me, that's where things get interesting. What happens when one of the most important politicians in the world leaves the world's biggest stage? That person, Kamala Harris. Where do they go when the shots stop? When the limousine stops following, the weight of the Oval Office is no longer close at hand. Harris's life has been anything but quiet since leaving the White House. She fought to make history again, as she ran for vice president and then for president. It was hard work on the campaign road. There were long nights, heated arguments, and a lot of political maneuvering. But after all the votes were cast, the White House door did not open for her this time. What does a former vice president who broke barriers and made history do now? Does she leave the public eye, stay out of the way, and disappear into her own life like other people have done before her? It's not Kamala. She did something instead that made everyone talk. She didn't hide away in a house in the woods to have a quiet time. She didn't run away to a Texas ranch in the middle of nowhere. She instead chose to live somewhere just as powerful. Los Angeles, but in a very different way. Brentwood is a place where Hollywood's A-list millionaires and media moguls are the ones who really have power, not electoral votes. In this world, movie stars are in place of presidential candidates, and power comes from big deals and special calls. And Harris. She's a good fit. Some of the most important people in business and show business live in her new neighborhood. Gwyneth Paltrow, Arnold Schwarzenegger and LeBron James are all very close by. There are gated estates, tall palm trees, and so little privacy that even the paparazzi have a hard time getting a picture. But why are they here? Why this house? Do you think she picked this multi-million-dollar retreat as a new way to stay in touch with power? Or do these walls hide something? A secret feature that makes this house more than just a fancy place to stay. Are you interested in what makes her house different from other multi-million-dollar homes? Let's go inside. Kamala Harris has a very successful job. We've also talked about her move to Brentwood and the rumors about a strange feature in her home. Now though, it's time to check out the house. Are you all set? What you're about to see isn't just a fancy place to stay, it makes a statement. Someone who used to be vice president could only have a house like this one. It has power, privacy, and status all in one. Let's think about what a house says about the person who lives in it before we open the door. Does it show who they are, what they want, or maybe even their secrets? Let's find out. Join me. You may notice that the first thing you notice about Kamala Harris's Brentwood mansion is that it is private. Kamala's house is not like the mansions of famous people, which have tall gates and flashy drives. It is tucked away quietly. It doesn't scream, "Look at me," from the outside, but don't be fooled. This house was made to stand out, but not in an obvious way. You might wonder, who's been through this door before? As we walk up to the front door, powerful people in politics or Hollywood, or maybe someone we wouldn't expect. Take a big breath now. We're about to go inside. Brentwood residence, which is the perfect example of modest luxury, combining comfort and style, in a way that works perfectly. The house is 3,500 square feet, and has 4 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms, so there is plenty of room to rest or hold small gatherings. The plan was carefully thought out to make sure that each area is both useful and comfortable, and that each one has a specific purpose, while keeping the flow of the house as a whole. As soon as you walk inside, you'll notice the warm current style. Tall floor-to-ceiling glass walls let in a lot of natural light, making the room feel open and airy. There isn't any over-the-top luxury here, just clean, simple decor with personal touches. Framed pictures of her historic swearing-in as vice president sit next to important family photos, giving the area a sense of being personal and heartfelt. The kitchen is the real heart of the home. You already know that Kamala Harris loves to cook. This ultra-modern kitchen, with its high-end appliances, spotless marble countertops, and large island, is the right place for her to try new foods. You can almost see her here, making her famous mac and cheese recipe. A dish that was huge on the internet once. The magic doesn't end inside though. Out back, there's a haven that looks like it belongs in a high-end resort. A lush garden, an infinity pool that looks like it belongs at a resort, and a cozy outdoor lounge make this the perfect place to relax. This private haven is the perfect place for her to get away from the public eye, whether she's spending the evening alone or with close friends. Of course, for someone so important, safety is the most important thing. The home has a high-tech video system, motion sensors and other high-tech safety features to protect your privacy and peace of mind. Here Harris can really let down her guard, away from the reporters and politicians who are always watching. Remember when we said there was something about this house that made people scratch their heads? We're about to find out what's going on. Because something is being kept secret deep inside this house, maybe behind a secret door, or out of sight. There may be a high-tech panic room for times of trouble. Some people think the house has a secret meeting room where important people can get together without being seen. What's going on inside those walls? That's still a secret, which makes the already interesting residence even more so. That being said, what's the truth? Think about this. You're walking through the streets of Brentwood, Los Angeles, which are lined with famous people. You see mansions worth millions of dollars that are hidden behind tall bushes and iron gates. There is Kamala Harris's secret retreat, hidden among these huge homes. It is so private and well protected that even one lost step near the entrance could set off alarms. But how hard is it to get into her fortress? What happened that one time the police had to come quickly? Let's take it all apart. Before we go any further, let's talk about Harris's house. There is a security guard standing outside, and a fancy doorbell camera. But this isn't your average star refuge. The woman we're talking about used to be Vice President of the United States, and has seen some of the world's most secret information. With that kind of fame comes a level of protection that would make any Hollywood star jealous. Kamala Harris's house is made like a stronghold, with high-tech surveillance and patrols that happen around the clock. Official information about her security measures is being kept secret for obvious reasons, but we do know that she is always accompanied by Secret Service agents, even at home. Think of high-tech cameras that can recognize faces. There are motion detectors all around the land, and a gated entrance that only certain people can get through. Expect the police to show up in minutes if you even linger near the wrong fence. That's not just a guess, it really did happen. Early in 2025, there were rumors that Harris's Brentwood home might have been broken into. As soon as the cops arrived, they detained 2 people who had gotten too close. There were no signs of breaking in, but the quick action showed how strong her security really is. Not following the curfew in the area. That was enough to make the police act right away. What else would say high alert if that? Harris's security team is ready for more than just people who are breaking in though. Her neighborhood has been evacuated many times because of wildfires, because it is in an area that is prone to natural disasters. During one especially bad season, checkpoints were set up around her house so that no one could get in, not even people who lived close. Some say this level of protection is higher than what is usually expected for people who used to hold public office. So what is it that those walls are protecting? If you think of a vice president's home, you might picture something big, historic and carefully put together for state business. But Kamala Harris's house in Brentwood, that's not the same thing. This is not a house that was picked by security experts or political consultants. It was chosen for her by hand long before she became famous on a national level. In 2012, this beautiful Brentwood home was bought by her husband, Doug M. Hoff, who was a well-known Hollywood lawyer at the time. In the middle of one of LA, this wasn't just another fancy house in one of the US's most exclusive neighborhoods. Making that choice was a smart move for privacy, comfort, and let's be honest, a taste of Hollywood luxury. Kamala and Doug got married in 2014, and the house changed hands. It went from being M. Hoff's bachelor pad to a place for the couple to relax together. Harris was the Attorney General of California at the time, and a rising star in politics. But the thought of one day living in the White House, most likely not even on their mind. Still, fate made this Brentwood haven more than just a nice place to get away. It became a safe place for her to get away from the chaos of politics. But now for the real question. Did her time living in government housing, like the vice president's house or the famous Blair house, change how she felt about her Brentwood home? It's a mix of yes and no. The safety measures, for sure, heightened how much she values privacy, better than ever. There aren't going to be any big meals or political speeches at this house though. This is her place to relax, make her favorite comfort foods, and be herself, without being Madam Vice President. Still, rumors keep going around about a secret part of the house that may have been added after she became famous. It doesn't matter what it is, getting anywhere near it would be very hard. Is this Brentwood home just a fancy place to relax, or is there more to it than meets the eye? Let the judge decide. Rumors have been going around about a highly secret feature on Harris's Brentwood home. Something so secret that only a few people know about it. Sound impossible, perhaps. But think about this, Secret Service agents don't just disappear. Harris is still being closely watched even after she has left office. That has a lot more protection than the average retired politician. There are motion monitors, infrared cameras, and armed guards who are on duty 24. This is more than just safety. There is a lockdown, and this is where things get even stranger. Sources say there might be a secret door deep inside her house, past the fancy decorations and simple furniture. Some people say it goes to a bunker below, a place where important people can meet without anyone knowing. Others say it's a safe vault that's closed off to the public and holds letters from important people, records of secret meetings, and papers that, if ever made public, could change the political scene.
Think about it. This setup has been seen before. In 2022, the FBI searched the home of a past U.S. president in Florida for secret papers. Could Harris's security be keeping something similar from him? Take a look. Comfort isn't the only thing this house has to offer. It has to do with power. It's about what goes on behind closed doors and who gets to come in and out. This home is more than just a vacation spot. It has a cutting-edge security system, high-tech surveillance, and is located near some of the most powerful people in business and culture. This is a fortress. The real question is this house the strongest in America?